to go live right now is to show you where I was up there at the Sunrise Point, and got a nice clean car. It was covered with a lot of salt or whatever ice melt they use around here, and I'm on my way back home and wanted to just go over a few things. It's easy to see the glare ice, virtually glare ice, that's in the view. Actually, that ice had a little bit of texture, so I was able to get some pretty good traction. What there is around here that's a bit different is we've got irrigation systems that go ahead and water the lawns and that around here, and the landscape, you know, the trees and the flowers and all that. Well, those irrigation systems make the road real icy and slippery, and we don't have the ice melt that's put out like in the Midwest where we used to live. I mean, over the bridges they will, and just consider why is that? Why do they do it that way? Well, simply because a bridge will ice up quicker, because it doesn't have the thermal mass of the earth underneath it. I was watching a broadcast the other day, and it wasn't a broadcast, it was about the tunnel being bored underneath mountains in Switzerland, and they were talking about temperatures exceeding 100 degrees in a subterranean area. It might have been because of all the engine operation. I suspect that had something to do with it. I know the basements in where we lived in Wisconsin would be in the mid 60s or so. The below the earth, below the surface of the earth, subterranean, is a bit cooler. And I bring that up because, you know, the clues are all around us, and are we paying attention? When it's real cold out like this, we're looking at low 20s right now. And what I wanted to say is, I've done this where I've been wearing shorts because it's I'm going to get into a warm car. I've got warm clothes with me if I need to, but I would be wearing shorts, and when I would make a go around a corner, I could feel the cool air move over me. Now, what's interesting, the pressure has started filling the globe back up, but when it was upstairs in the window, it was pressure, like it was completely full. Now there's maybe 5 to 7% shrinkage. the air pressure inside that container is less. So part of what I'm thinking is that, you know, who has an inflatable globe that they have with them to notice the temperature pressure difference in a clear container like that? Well, it'll happen in plastic bottles and things like that. However, when I'm carrying the globe around like that to illustrate some points that I want to make, it's also easy to see. You know, when I was up in a much warmer temperature, over 60 degrees, and then I get into the low 20s, there's a contraction. In the windows that are in the condominiums up there, they're rated for over 180 miles an hour, or 165 it might be, laminated glass with plastic in there like the windshield of a car, and yet it's the thermal pane has a vacuum in between the layers of glass, so it's not as conductive with temperature. I sold windows that had krypton in them, interesting gas, argon as well. Krypton was supposed to be more expensive, more effective. I'm not so sure. The windows were excellent. They did a great job. They were just kind of expensive. And that's part of the the dynamic too. I've represented things I wasn't really sold on myself. I would get people that would challenge the math that I was told to present to them, how the windows would pay for themselves. Well, if they didn't have a debt load for it, that might have worked better. The problem is, because of the debt load, it doesn't work so good. That was one of the local law enforcement officers, clearly able to see, since I'm the only car on the road, my light's on and I'm waving at him, can see that big white mitt right there. You know, and it's like, now that I'm not riding dirty, it just doesn't matter. If I wanted to go out on New Year's Eve, no problem. Right now it's 2:52 Eastern Standard Time. You know, so when I go home, I'll take a nap after doing some updates and critiquing my broadcast. I may do that now, or I may just go to sleep. I can basically choose to do it in a variety of ways. There's flexibility. Freedom gives choices. I didn't used to have the choices that I have now. So I get to do this. I don't have to. I'm going to flip this around and just show you some of the dynamics. I'm approaching the Intracoastal Waterway, and this is the bridge that goes over it, and it's probably 100 feet taller than the water, over the top of the water, so pretty large vessels can go. When I get home, and show you before I get home. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. So this is the Atlantic Intracoastal Waterway. This flows out near where I do photography. It's a couple miles northeast of where I was at the condo. And this heads out towards the open ocean there. So do you think people at close to 3 o'clock in the morning are doing a real good job at obeying the speed limits? Oh yeah. Imagine that. Imagine that. So what I do is I just go the speed limit to the best of my ability with the computer-aided technology. I'll just set the cruise control, and it gives a measured amount of fuel to maintain a road speed. It's some pretty high-tech stuff. I mean, my earlier cars when I was growing up didn't have cruise control. I don't even know that it existed. Well, I think it did. I just had cars older than the technology. I think it might have come out in the early 70s, maybe. So in this empty lot right over there, there's a lot of equipment. On this side is the hospital addition. The other side of the road is a retirement center right across from a big hospital. Huh, what a coincidence. Yeah, right, that's how that works out. You know, we can look at dynamics that are like that. It just makes good sense for a lot of people to be living close to a hospital. I see a lot of that a bit different than I used to. If I had an emergency, a wound that needed to get sewed up or something like that, a really bad infection I couldn't take care of with a little hydrogen peroxide, I might go to one of those places. But by and large, I'm not a fan of a lot of the what's wearing the term of medical treatment, because a lot of it is supported by a pharmaceutical industrial complex that's unfortunately not a real good health model. I don't know if you're aware of this. The United States doesn't have the stellar view of healthcare that maybe it people would like to think it does. You can research some of this if you care to, or just scroll on by. And that's part of the dynamic with this. Where back in the day, back in what day? Like quite a few years ago, before the internet and before Facebook and YouTube, how would I say to somebody, hey, do you know they're doing this or that, or this or that conspiracy? Well, what I have learned to do is to make that information available on my social media platforms that I use, leveraging the resources that you and others have paid to have the devices and the services to receive this transmission and other YouTube videos that are up. I'm going to flip this around right now. I'm going the speed limit, and so is the state trooper that's right there on the right side of the road, right in front of me. He's moving faster away, probably about 7 miles an hour faster than I'm traveling. Oh, there goes his blinker on. Oh yeah. Actually, that was an Horry County trooper, or an Horry County police officer. We live real close to their home base in this area, as well as the emergency rescue team. When they go out on a call, if I'm outside or the windows are open, I can hear them leaving. I've talked to them, different things. Yeah. Every now and again there will be, like, I ride a motorcycle, and like I pulled in there and I said, hey, there's a pile of gravel in the road out there. I'm not gonna go and shovel it off, but on this motorcycle, if I were to hit that while I'm turning, it wouldn't be good. So what I'm gonna do is this right here is the Anderson Brothers Bank right down the street from us, but I'm not going to pull in there. That would be a little freaky. The security cameras would be on me. I don't need that. So I'm just driving home, and when I get on the driveway, I'll go ahead and pan up and show you where the moon is in relationship to where I live. And what I've noticed, and I'll mention it on this video as well, where the sun and the moon appear and vanish, I'll flip this around, where the sun and the moon appear and vanish from this perspective changes so radically through the year, and in their duration of visibility in relationship to one another varies so much that it's not answered on the globe model accurately at all. Because it doesn't have to, and it's not a reality, it's science fiction. The reality is the earth doesn't move, the sun, moon, and stars move above the face of the earth. That's what's really happening. So it's kind of nice here. I'll just show you how this looks. Okay, so one of the things that would happen is, like, I would come out on the driveway, and then I would try and pan up to the moon with my tripod, and I didn't have a tripod that would work for that. So what I'm going to do at this point is grab my camera and show you. All right. Want to get this set up a little bit better. What I wanted to show you is how it looks at this stage, at this phase, compared to the last broadcast that I did at the condo. So there it is, just through the iPhone, and then I'll just zoom in. The the lighting just isn't excuse me, isn't what I want to see. What I'm going to do is take a picture of it, and then I'll show you. See, I'm able to do a little bit better shot of it. So there's the moon. There's the moon with better magnification. And it's turned a bit. We can see the time and how it turned from the last broadcast. So what I would simply say is, as always, for an eternal perspective, I encourage everybody to hear, share, and of course, obey God's word, Bible.com.